I express my warm welcome to today's speaker, Mr. Rohit Ghole, alumni of AISSMS IOIT 2013 batch. Now, he is a business intelligence engineer at Amazon.com, Seattle, Washington. He is graduated with a bachelor's degree in instrumentation engineering. He have also selected in immersion process management as a system engineer from campus selection at AISSMS IOIT. He have also pursued master degree in manufacturing engineering, minor in industrial engineering and statics from North Carolina State University. He have also worked in GKN Driveline as a quality analyst intern. He too worked in Amazon as a business analyst and now working as a business intelligence engineering. He is also vice president of membership Amazon Roseanne Toastmaster Club. Today, we are having Rohit Ghole sir to guide us about job opportunities in industry, instrumentation engineering and higher studies in US. It will surely benefit all of us. Now I request Rohit sir to start this session.
Good morning, guys. First of all, thank you for the introduction, Aditya. And it's good to back amongst the AISSMS IIT alumni. The very first time, actually, before we proceed, are you able to hear me clearly? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Perfect, perfect. Before that, I would like to actually thank Kai ma'am. The very first time when she reached out that, hey, would you like to give a webinar on some topic for our IoT folks? I was really happy. It's always good to be back with the college grads and help them out. Going ahead, and let's take a time to applaud everyone. It's Monday morning up there, and I know it's very early for you guys, but still you have made your way into this webinar. So that itself is something that you're taking one step towards your career. So that's something I really like. So good morning, everyone. I'll share my screen with you right now, and then we'll start through it. Perfect. Let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yes, Rohit, it is visible.
So going ahead, students, I would like this to be kind of an interactive session. It should not be one way. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can stop me at any point. We can raise any concerns that you have. We can address it and then we can move forward. I don't want to be just one way where I'm speaking out and you guys are just taking notes or something. Let's make it more interactive, because I know for sure that when I was in your shoes, I had a lot of questions and someone I really looked up to with all this. Just like, hey, what can I do? What can I do that? How do you approach this? So feel free to ask. The whole purpose of having this webinar is to address all the concerns that we have and to put the information out on the table, so you are in a better place to make the decision and the judgment. So as I've already, Aditya has walked me through, I'll just go briefly over myself and touch base in depth on my degrees and my experience. So currently I'm working at Amazon and I'm working
Rohit,
in that role.
Rohit,
Yes,
sorry
ma'am?
to interrupt. Can you please make full screen?
Sure. Is this? I don't know how to do it. If you can let me know.
It is a slide, no?
Yeah, it's a slide. Oh, you want this to be
Yeah,
full?
at the
Perfect, perfect. Yeah.
at the
Sorry,
bottom.
my bad.
At the bottom.
Yeah, now you're able to
Okay,
see?
fine. Yeah,
Perfect,
fine.
perfect. Sorry, it's been a long time, Guy, ma'am. It's been a long time. Perfect. I'll again restart. So currently I'm working at Amazon as business intelligence engineer. It is part of the data family job role. Basically, it's business analyst, business intelligence engineer, and data scientist, and then research scientist. So that's the portfolio that we have up here. I'm also serving as the vice president of Amazon Toastmasters Roxanne Club. If you don't know what Toastmasters is, it's basically one of those clubs where you have a platform to work on your English speaking skill. It's a very good platform where you can come, you can have your speech, you can work on your impromptu skills. If you have anything that you are trying to launch, you have a product launch meeting. So it's kind of very safe haven, I might say. You can work on arms, you can work on your grammatical mistakes, you can work on your pronunciation. I personally have worked on my voice modulation. As you can see, I know Kai Mamadav, if she remembers, during my undergrad days, I used to speak in one same modulation of voice, but now as you can see, it's more more improved and better eye contact. So if you are going forward, if you if you get a chance to be a Toastmaster, join a Toastmasters club and be a part of it, feel free to do it. If you have any questions about it, you can reach out to me. Apart from that, in my free time, I like hiking, kayaking, and I'm currently learning origami and painting. So if you have anything that's super awesome in origami or painting, shoot me a message. I would like to learn and know more about it. And then the last, I'm pretty excited for this webinar. Like I said earlier, I've been in your shoes, and I know it's hard to be as a student, and then with all this opportunity, especially in today's times where with COVID crisis, the opportunities and may in academically and professionally may alter. Uh, Going ahead into education, so as you're already aware, I graduated from AISSMS IOIT Instrumentation and Control in 2013, and then I worked for 2 years in Emerson Export Engineering, which is up in Shivaji Nagar. And after that, I pursued my master's in North Carolina State University. So my focus basically was on integrated manufacturing, but I did minor in industrial engineering and statistics. So statistics was something when I came to US, I got a very good professor. I started liking it, and then I decided to pursue it as one of my minors. And in experience wise, like I've already described what I do at Amazon, business intelligence engineer is nothing but it's mostly someone who would help Amazon retail or AWS services with analysis. One example would be, hey, how do we increase the delivery rate for a particular area? One of my last projects last year was the one-day delivery. As you might know, if you're a Prime member with Amazon, Amazon now guarantees you one-day shipping. So today, if you order, by tomorrow at 8 p.m., you should have your order. So that was one of our projects that we pursued. With GK and Driveline, I worked as quality engineer intern. I did it for 1 year, and it was basically more of data collection, analysis, and process capability. This was mostly Lean Six Sigma stuff, where I was doing CPK analysis, applying statistical process control, and trying to optimize a part of the chain. So that was one. Mostly my targets were to improve on volume, cost, and wastage target, if any. So that was my thesis. So this internship also acted as my thesis in my master's, which I had presented and defended with the committee. And the last is Emerson Export Engineering. They do have their center in Shivaji Nagar, and they are worldwide. This is my college placement. So in 2013, I joined this company. I worked there for 2 years, during which I got to work on oil and gas projects, worked on different aspects of it. It was development, testing, pre-commissioning, and commissioning. And so the whole reason why I moved, it was a very good job opportunity, but the reason I started to pursue or decided to pursue my master's was that in 2015, oil and gas sector had recession, and then the selling price was much lesser than the production cost. And this was kind of a recession where our headcounts were stuck, we were not getting bonuses, our promotions were not aligned. I had a really good mentor back then who said that, it's time for you to go back to your college and get some degree. It's not the right time for you to be up here. So this is when I decided that, okay, it's time for me to go back to grad school, learn something new, and try to enhance my skill set. And the last is my contact. You can, if you have any questions, even after this session, please note my Gmail. It's rohitgole@gmail.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. It's nothing but linkedin.com/in/rohitgole. As simple as that. And you should be able to locate me up there. Now, going ahead with the topic, job opportunities and higher studies, the very current challenges that we're facing right now worldwide. It's not just India, it's not just US, it's not just UK, but it's worldwide. Number one is COVID-19 crisis. This has shifted the landscape of job opportunities that we have in multiple sectors. Number two, academically also, it had altered our students coming up in US or UK or Germany to pursue their higher education. Number two is job opportunities. There have been some layoffs. I'm not lying. This is a real world scenario where people have lost their jobs in certain sectors. The most sectors that have been hit that I know of is manufacturing. We had a lot of shutdowns that happened up here in India also, as you might have been aware, that many people are currently off their jobs because they have cost cutting or something of that sort. The last is immigration route. Now, going forward, all what I'm going to say is somewhere tied down to the higher opportunities in the US, right? The reason I'm putting this challenges first is so that we can touch base later on the same. Immigration rules. There have been a lot of ups and downs in the immigration going forward, right? You might have heard President Trump doing this and that. The only reliable source for truth should be the official USCIS website. which I've mentioned up here. And second is the university website. In case if you have any admit, or if you know that the courses is going, if the course is going to go as planned or not, there are only two sources that you should be relying on. Don't rely on any forwards, don't rely on any word of mouth. It's just those two websites where you will get a clear idea of how things are changing. In case if you have any doubt, feel free to reach out to the graduate administration of your US university, and they should be able to help you with it. And the last is online and in-person rules, right? They have been the new rule where people are offering masters in US, but they are sitting in India and they are paying fees in US. The reason this topic I selected and I wanted to touch this is as well. My cousin is currently undergoing the same process. He applied to US university, and before even he could have his visa, the embassies and consulates were shut down, so he could not apply. University doesn't have clear answer right now that how do you want to proceed ahead, right? Do you want to take an online course and pay in sitting in India? Do you want to pay the same fees up here? Now, to sum it up, currently, if you have any outstanding offer from any university, so I'm not forcing you or something, but then I would recommend you to kind of defer the admission. Reason number one is the fee structure. So even if you're going to do an online fee and you're going to sit home, why pay the entire fee? That's number one. When you're in US, when you're amongst the students, there are multiple facilities that you are entitled to. One is library, one is gym, one could be extracurricular activities, like you can learn tennis, you can learn archery. There are a lot of stuff that you do when you're on campus, right? On campus also, it makes a breeding ground for you to discuss amongst your students and fellow mates, which in online may or may not be helpful. So number one is the fees. Number two is the job opportunities. Like if you're coming in this current crisis, there might be some issues going forward with the how the jobs are going to align, right? We are seeing a rebound in the economy, but I'm still not sure how the jobs might. Certain sectors like Amazon is doing good, and Amazon is still hiring people in this crisis. So e-commerce is not much of a hit, but grocery chains or manufacturing or pharmacy is something that still needs some rebound coming up. Number three is that right now the rules are such in a gray scale that it's neither a yes or a no from university going ahead that how do you want to proceed. So until it's not clear, maybe it might be good for you to take a year off and then work on some skills or a startup, or work 1 year full time, gain some money, and that you can pay off for your tuition fee. So that's number two. The last is again in online in person. Like I've already mentioned, online courses, if you're going to pay the university fee is the same as Coursera, then it does not add value to you, right? I personally have found online to be good because you can learn it at self pace, but again there are pros and cons, and it depends upon student of how he can cope up with the education. The number two. Now the last thing is, how do you go about the admission process? Sorry, before that we'll connect with technical opportunities. As an instrumentation engineer, what exactly will you be working on in US, right? There are multiple fields. Instrumentation and control is such a fabulous specialization. It's a mix and match of everything that is out there, right? It has mechanical, it has electrical, it has image processing. Like you say, and it's up there. It's a perfect blend for you to learn those skills. One fine example, if I have to present today, is that what we were doing in embedded system back then as a project in third year and fourth year is basically nothing but IoT. IoT is a new word or is a new jargon that has come up, but this is something that the instrumentation and control folks have been doing for a long time. It's the same thing. Like if I have to put another example, it's statistics. Statistics people are already doing. Predictive modeling was something that was a part of stats, but nowadays it's called machine learning, and it's more fancy and it's more trendy, I might say, right? So what technical opportunities do we have here? You can work in analog or circuit designing field. I've already listed out here, but I'll touch specific points up here, right? Secondly, autonomous system. It's a very upcoming field that you might see. A lot of instrumentation and control folks have been hired in Tesla, have been hired in GM. There's a startup called Zoox. They want the instrumentation guys to work on sensor technology and to help them in automating the car. Not just car, but even pickup trucks. Second is bioelectronics. It's a very upcoming field. There are a lot of research that I've been doing. I've seen people who are coming here for thesis and PhD in the same field. We have control robotics. Control, when I say it's a broad field, it could be oil and gas control systems, it could be robotics control system, anything, right? Then you have digital signal processing. This is where most of our new folks are coming up with new technologies. I've seen them working with Qualcomm or AMD in Texas. It's a pretty stable field, and there are a lot of opportunities in that side. This is a new trending word: machine learning, image recognition, and processing. Superb technology. People have been working here as research scientists. We have one course, right? Actually, if I'm not wrong, we have two courses in digital image processing. If you go ahead in advance and if you work on this skill set, it's actually a whole field altogether. We do hire image recognition specialists. If you know Amazon Go, in Amazon Go, the technology is that you don't have to scan your credit card or something. Your face gets attached to your app, and whatever you just buy, you can just leave. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to wait in a line. You don't have to swipe your cards. Nothing. So basically, it gets built automatically. So that's a new upcoming field, and they are going to launch it across all the grocery chains in US. That's one. Nanosystems is part of the MEMS that we do up in our fourth year. Photonics and optics. I remember Shital Kulkarni ma'am used to teach us this. It's also a new field up here. You can work on it. Power electronics, power systems, part of all embedded system designing. And the last is software development. This specifically, I would like to touch bases. We have seen a lot of instrumentation and control folks moving forward towards software development, right? We have PCS Infosys, they come to your college, they pick it up. So what happens is eventually your profile after 1-2 years start to get more towards software testing or development, one of the two, right? And this is the time when you actually gain skill set in Java or Coral or Ruby on Rails or something. So this also facilitates one way for you to switch your field or to go more in depth about, like, you start with Java, then you go into testing, then you can come here for masters in software development, and you can be a software developer also. So I've seen people change fields. I myself have changed field, as you can see. I started in oil and gas, then I worked 1 year in automobile industry, and now I'm working in e-commerce. So it's totally okay. As far as you're able to get done with your basics and able to answer some certain set of questions during an interviews, it's all okay. You can switch fields. The second thing that we are seeing is, how do we select major, right? Okay, now we have decided that you want to pursue masters. You know what technologies you want to focus on. Now, how do you select major? So if you see, there's no masters in instrumentation control in United States. Reason number one, it's get convoluted under electrical and computer engineering or industrial. So based on the university, you might find our department courses in one or the other field, right? Most of the time it's electrical and computer engineering, and within which they have different branch like mechatronics and IoT and robotics and control engineering, right? And in industrial, you can find mostly it confluences with manufacturing engineering and production engineering. So that's one aspect of it. So, like I discussed, universities offer specialization across departments. So you will have to do your thorough research in which university is offering our courses under which department. That's number one. Number two, majors can be selected in conjunction with minor. So you don't have to specifically work. So, like I said, instrumentation and control is already a specialized field, right? We already touch base across all, and you might have some interest. Let's say you did digital image processing in fourth year and advanced digital processing as well, and now you want to touch base on it, or you want to enhance this skill further. But along with that, you can do something more, like you can learn some Python coding, or you can learn some IoT stuff of it. So now you know digital image processing, and now you know IoT, and you can just club it together, and you can have a good portfolio. So one rule up here is you can do mix and match of courses. So don't be rigid about that. Okay, this is the only thing that I want to do. Be open minded. When you come here, you will learn a lot that, oh, maybe I can combine this with other courses. I combine statistics because I thought instrumentation and statistics together. Once I start the sensor data, I can start applying statistics on it, and I can learn more about the smart systems, right? So that was one of my aim. So going forward, I tried to target that and started to enroll myself in those courses. The third point is, check university website and course curriculum for details. Like already mentioned, a lot of universities offer this curriculum under different departments, and they have different course requirement, right? So you have to be very careful about the breadth and the depth requirement. So what are those? Breadth requirement is, you have to touch base with major. Let's say you have to do 4 courses from your major, 2 courses from your minor. That's the breadth. And what is the depth? So in depth, they might say that, hey, you need to do, so there are 500, 600, 700 level course. So what are those? 500 is introductory master level course, 600 is intermediate, and 700 is advanced. So it's basically like how we have digital image processing and advanced digital image processing. It's in the same way, right? So what you can do is you can work on your depth as well. So they can say, hey, you need to take 2 introductory courses and 1 advanced level course. So you can start altering and deciding your courses accordingly. So how can you decide that? So every university has a graduate counselor, right? You can go up to him, you can let them know what your history has been, like what have you worked with, what is your work history, what are your interests, and what do you find fascinating, and they can try to help you with a lot of courses that you might find, right? That, hey, can you do this, can you do this, or have you looked at this courses that the other department is offering. You can also merge your courses with other departments. So I took few courses from electrical department. One was robotics, which I liked, which I found very fascinating. So I did that. The whole aim was that if I can attach sensor to the robotic arms, maybe I can get more data. So that was one of my things. And then I took two courses from MBA department. So those were basically decision making under uncertainty. And then the second one was supply chain focus. So you have to keep your open mind, and you have to see that are there any other department courses that I can take. It might be overwhelming and challenging at first, but then once you have your discussion with your grad counselor, it actually helps you to narrow down, okay, this is what you want to go ahead with. The second thing is, major and minor can be changed. You don't have to stick with it, right? And secondly, you can change from thesis to non-thesis. First, I enrolled for non-thesis. I was not sure if I can do research in a completely different field. But then once I got that confidence, I said, okay, maybe I can do thesis now. And then I decided on my committee, and then I defined my thesis. And secondly, with major and minor, if you apply for EC, you go there and you see, okay, maybe EC does not fascinate you, or there are not current opportunities in this field, you can switch your major. Provided you discuss this with your graduate counselor first, and secondly, you are taking the correct courses. So because when you graduate, you have to graduate with a certain number of credits. So in my case, there were 33 credits, right? So those are 11 courses that I have to take. So it should not be you have done 9 courses from a major and then you're asking to change your major, because then that's like redoing all your courses back again. So be focused, ask your counselor, and he should be able to help you with it. And the last is, like I've already mentioned, you can club with anything. You can club with biomedical engineering, you can do mechanical engineering courses, vice versa. Like if you find anything fascinating that adheres to your interest, maybe you should go with it. The second thing is industries. Now, where do we find instrumentation and control engineers going forward? One is automobile. I've seen a lot of people working in Tesla as control system design engineer. They're working on fabulous work and they're doing some exciting work up there. Second is e-commerce. Like myself, we have found some place in Amazon. Amazon also deals with warehouse robotics. You might also find our Dex Spot. Our Spot is a small robot that delivers packages. So that's also fully robotic, and it's all instrumentation guys who work there. It's shortest path algorithm technology, and then last is the detection. So how do you know that the right person is picking up the package? So it was all control system engineering that we worked up there. Third is pharmaceutical industry. We have seen few people working in GSK as control system engineer. Fourth is oil and gas. In oil and gas, I've seen them working as petroleum engineers, system engineers, maintenance engineers. Schlumberger is one of those examples. And then the reason I've written except is that it's not just these industries, but they are across all. I've found them working with aeronautical industry. In Boeing, we have few of them. We have few of them in origin. So those are the different industries with a lot of startup coming up. You might see that this industry, the traditional industries are not now core. It's changing, it's shifting. So that is the reason I've said etc. Okay, till now, do you have any questions? How can I check the chat box if we have? Aditya, do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, we have some questions. So we take some questions from. Are you audio?
Yeah, I'm audible. Yeah, what are the questions?
Yeah, the shift from process to the software. How hard is for the instrumentation engineer?
Okay, so if you are changing the field, like I said, there are multiple ways you can do. Number one is if you're working already in the software industry, right? You can gain those expertise in Java, Python, Ruby on Rails, C++, C Sharp. So that will help you to build your solid foundation. And then when you apply to US universities, you in SOP you can write like what is the reason that you are pursuing software development, and then how do you fit in. So in your standard SOP, you can just say that in a statement of purpose, you can say though I've graduated from instrumentation control, I have worked in 2 years with a software firm, and I've gained some domain expertise in this, and that is the reason I would like to pursue this further, or you find it fascinating. So I don't say it's hard. I've seen people do it. It's kind of it depends upon how you find coding. So it's very subjective by end of the day. But then you can do it. It's not that hard.
Okay. So there is one more question from the attendees. How do you
Mhm.
get a job at Amazon? And what about your work experience in Amazon?
Okay. So Amazon employs a large variety of job families. So it ranges from data family, like I've mentioned, which is business analyst, business intelligence engineer, data scientist, and research scientist. Another one is control system engineers. It's a very core field that what we do is the same thing, that we have supply chains, and then we would like someone to optimize them. So it could be like placing of robotic arm. How can we increase the packing process? How can we increase the shipment rate and something of that sort? Number three is program management. Once you have some domain expertise in people management, you can also move to Amazon, and you can take a program management in different domains. That could be payments, that could be ad revenue, it could be transportation, it could be Amazon Air. So as you're already aware, Amazon has a vast variety of businesses. It ranges from Amazon Music, Prime Video, right till we have our own airplanes as well. That helps us to deliver everything in one day. So you can even work in corporate air and help them plan the utilization of air routes, the air routes itself, that if you want it to be from Las Vegas to Denver, then how many lanes do you want? Do you want it twice a day or something of that sort? And the last is basically you can start working into as an analyst, where it could be fraud detection, credit risk detection, or something of that sort. So in Amazon India, we are still open for hiring. A lot of opportunities up there. So once you have some experience, or if you can connect those dots, you can start applying. Another thing that I would like to raise is also going forward. A lot of business domains are now requiring SQL skills, right? If you know SQL or if you know Python, it actually helps you to quickly get a job here.
Just for continuing, I want to ask from my side.
Mhm.
It has been tagged that the Amazon, if the company hires someone in Amazon, it has been tagged that it's just a call center job. So what are the job opportunities are there in the Amazon? Because it's a mindset has been happen in India right now.
True. And I don't blame anyone. It's a way Amazon has been operating. And trust me, my friends also kid me a lot about the same. That if they call, if for the package to be late, it's basically me who picks up the call. It happens, no worries. Like I said, so let me put down the Amazon businesses for you, so that will help you to gain some idea on it. So we have Prime Music, Prime Video, Amazon Air, Amazon Payments, Amazon Ads, Amazon.com itself. Then we have Alexa. Alexa is our upcoming field. And then the last is AWS, which basically brings in a lot of revenue. So what happens is most of the jobs in India, in Hyderabad, have been call center. Yes, earlier to a call center. We have 2 to 3 facilities in Pune as well that deal with German call centers, email and chat. But now it's expanding. People are getting into Amazon for different job family roles. So it's not that I agree it's a stigma associated with Amazon. But then there are multiple roles that if you find fascinating, you can apply. You can be a product manager, you can be a program manager, you can be a business analyst. It's totally up to you. And the last is in call center as well. There are a lot of jobs, right? One thing could be, let's say, a research scientist. So we have a research scientist working for our call centers. So her work is basically, why a customer calling? How can we reduce it? Let's say if Aditya calls today for his package being late, how many times he has to hop? Right? Like, are we is he landing to a normal, regular, generic portal where customer says, "Oh, it's for transportation. Let me forward you to the next guy." So let's say if Aditya has to resolve his issue with 3 times, like 3 guys helping me out in between with 10 minutes of delay, then that's what a research scientist does. So her basic job is just to help you within the one jump. Your answer should be there, like reducing the number of hops, reducing the number of call time, and getting your issue resolved in the very first go. So even in call center, it's a lot, right? So don't just restrict to people who are just picking up call. It's a wide field. And secondly, from India, we are supporting a lot of marketplaces. So Amazon is not just in India and US, right? We also have Amazon Canada, Mexico, US. France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Turkey, India, Singapore, Australia, and China and Japan. So the same thing that I've spoken, right? The transportation issue, let's say. So one example could be a program manager has to tackle a transportation issue. In Pune, deliveries are getting late. That's his only problem statement, and he's going to work on it for the next 2 years. It sounds simple, but when he starts to deep dive into the issues, he realizes that it's not that easy. With different zip code, there might be different issues. For example, small items might be delivered early, heavy, bulky items are taking time, right? So what happens is he has to gain those expertise and domain knowledge and then try to come up with a solution and then deploy a fix. Now what, even if he fixes that for India, it does not mean that the same thing, that solution that he has for India, works for Japan or works for China, right? So this is when that comes, when your domain knowledge is there and you can switch your problem statement across the regions, across the marketplaces, and come up. So don't restrict yourself, or don't think that Amazon is just call center. It's more than that. If you can go on Amazon.com, Amazon.jobs, you will have an idea about it. And the job descriptions are pretty detailed. You can see what exactly is expected from you, and then what skill sets are required from you, and then how does your job evolve over the time. I hope I answered it. Whoever has asked this question.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Someone is asking for opinion. So he's interested in aerospace engineering. So he's asking, what should I do for the masters in aerospace engineering or engineering in an instrumentation domain?
Okay, so aerospace is actually pretty cool field. So first of all, thank you for choosing that. But number two, given the current circumstances, the jobs are a bit of dicey. Boeing is currently going in loss. Boeing is situated in Seattle. It's headquartered in Seattle, and it's right across our city. We have seen with 737 grounding, a lot of jobs have been discontinued in the aerospace field. So think about it before you make that move. But to reduce the risk associated with just aerospace engineering, you can learn some other stuff, right? One of my friend, actually, one of our AISSMS alumni, Manoj Patankar, he pursued aerospace engineering in University of Cincinnati and currently is working as a design engineer in a mechanical firm. So that's also one way to do. So if you are just concerned with aerospace engineering and aerospace field, that is a limited or a narrow view for you. But if you pursue aerospace engineering and are open to other aspects, because in aeronautics and aerospace, you learn more about thermodynamics, you learn more about fluid dynamics and designing aspect of it, right? So you can take that and apply across different fields. So you can find job in manufacturing, you can find job in some startups where autonomous technology is used and they have to design the car from scratch. That is when it might be used.
Okay, moving towards the next. What are the business opportunities in instrumentation and control engineering?
Which opportunity?
Business opportunities.
Okay, so this is going to be pretty brutal. Let me tell you, business, you have to gain some knowledge before you venture into the business aspect of it, right? Number one, you need to have domain knowledge even before you take management. You do people management, you do product management, right? So let's say if you work for 2-3 years, then you can make that switch. It's easier in that way because by now you know how to manage people. You know how the products are. Let's say, for example. I'll give you Forbes Marshall, right? In Forbes Marshall, you can start as a sales manager or something. You can start as a field engineer as well. And then once you have 3 years, you can then venture into the business aspect of it, where now you dictate prices, you take over the customers and then help them with installation, pre-commissioning and commissioning. And then going forward, once you have that knowledge in business, then you can work across different fields. You can move to GE, you can move to MSM, you can move to anywhere. So see, let me... the best example would be, there are always intermediary job levels, right? After one level, you have to switch into management, right? So let's say you be field engineer, then you become senior field engineer. After that, for sure, you have to get into the management aspect of it. So the intermediary position here is senior field engineer. In my field, let's say business intelligence, senior business intelligence, and that's it. It gets saturated up there. So after that, I have to take a call whether if I'm good with people management, do I want to be a people manager? Or if I'm good with product management, do I want to be a product manager? So what is the difference? In people management, you have been given a team and a task to deliver on time, right? So it could be anything. It could be payment processing or something of that sort. But for product, you basically can have one product which you can manage end to end. So the UI aspect of it, the customer experience aspect of it, the launch aspect of it, the announcement aspect of it. So everything comes under one domain, and that's product. So you have to take a call going forward. Even within business, it's a very broad segment, that you want to be a people manager or you want to be a product manager.
Okay. Are there any job opportunities for machine learning in India?
Yes, yes. One is open to hire as data scientists. We love having machine learning scientists up here, and even within machine learning, we have different domains. One is forecasting, just regular science, which is predictive modeling. One is image recognition. Other could be AI, VR. Feel there are opportunities, and there are a lot of companies that are actually venturing into that space again. Google in India is also launching their AML arm. Amazon is already doing that. Amazon, my teammate is working from India Chennai office, and he's a data scientist with us, and he works on machine learning algorithms.
Okay.
Oh, and on the other hand, even there's Mu Sigma. It's MU space Sigma. It's a fabulous company to work for. They also have this data scientist certifications and all that they do. So over the time, you can learn and become a data scientist within the same company. So even those guys are open to machine learning folks.
To get education opportunities in US, so what steps and what exams should be given, or what qualities should the student have for pursuing a good university?
Yes, I actually forgot to discuss that when I switch over the field. It's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Uh, Two basic things that we definitely need is, one is GRE. There have been non-GRE accepting universities, but please don't do that because those are not accredited. Those do not have good rankings, so beware of those. So one is get a good GRE score, and secondly, either of TOEFL or IELTS, the English speaking course. You can take one or the other. TOEFL and IELTS. If you do TOEFL, it's basically US based, but if you do IELTS, it's used across US and Canada. So what basically happens is, if you do these two courses, if you undergo these two exams, then you have statement of purpose and letter of recommendation to work on, and then you can apply based on your GRE score and your experience and your liking. You can then choose up to 6 to 8 universities that you want to apply, and then you can start applying with different departments that you're interested in. So it might also happen that at UT Austin you like, let's say, electrical engineering, but in NC State where I have been, you might like industrial engineering. So it's totally okay. So it's not that EC will be across all same. Like I mentioned, different departments, different universities have different curriculum aspects of it. So you can shortlist those 6, and then acceptance, then you can decide which ones to take or which ones to not. Then you can narrow it down between deciding factors like cost of living, tuition fees, job opportunities, location, if that's a detrimental factor for you. Like if you don't want to stay up in north, which is all the time, it's just snows up there in the north. So if location, and the last could be personal factors, like where do you have your relatives, where do you have your friends. If you have that, then you can basically narrow down and then choose one university in the admits that you have received so far.
Okay. There is again one is asking for opinion. Suppose after instrumentation, I decided to go masters in computer engineering. So how do you? So how can I do this thing?
Yep. So
Can I do this?
yes, you can. Of course, you can do it. You can apply for computer engineering, and then you can take some courses. There are some universities that might ask you to do prerequisite courses. Something like Arizona State asking you to do undergo a Java exam if you have never done Java. But then, if you can prove them that you have done Java in some capacity in India, you have learned Java, you have done some Java projects, or you are using Java in your day-to-day work profile. Then they give you exemption, and then you can actually pursue those. So it's totally up to you. In your statement of purpose, you do have to mention it strongly that why are you switching field, and then what previous experience you have that connect. Basically, it's connecting the dots. You can say, "Hey, I learned Java, and currently I'm working with Java. I find it very fascinating. Computer engineering is something that I want to go ahead with, and with a focus on machine learning." Then you can put it in that way, and then you can have admits. So yeah, it's totally doable. But then you have to make up your mind that you're going to, first of all, you should accept that it might be hard. because you're going to switch field altogether. So 4 years of your basic education in India might not help you there. So it happened with me. That is the reason I'm giving you a word of caution. Like I studied instrumentation, but then I switched to industrial with statistics. I found it a bit difficult, but then again I carried forward and it was a success. So yeah, you have to mentally prepare yourself and then start working towards that goal. You should be good.
Okay, it's question from my side now.
Mhm.
uh, in some university, apart from academics, they required skills in other extracurriculum activities. So, which types of skills they required for pursuing university in US?
Okay. So other skills, it's a very broad and subjective based on the different universities, right? But I personally have written down. So let me put it this way. Let me reframe the answer. So now, even within your department and your class, let's say 10 people with same degree, right, with same marks and everything, they apply to that university, but they just have 2 spots. They don't have 10 spots. Then how do they decide, right? So for those 2, you have to make your profile stand out. So this is when you can say that you have done some DIY projects. Skill set could be you are doing volunteering service, you are working in an NGO, that's one. Number 2 could be apart from your regular work, you have done some projects that is like DIY, do it yourself project. It could be pet projects that you can mention up there, that you worked on. Let's say you worked on Python integration with IoT device, or you created one Alexa skill set, anything. So those type of things that are not falling in your regular, and that you personally think will stand out amongst all the 10 profiles, you should definitely pursue those.
Again, there is one question from attendees.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I want to do a degree from a Germany, so which exam I should give, and which field I choose?
Yes, we have few of our alumnus working in Germany, and they are doing absolutely phenomenal there. They are working in Brussels right now in core engineering field. Chinmay Navgane, he is one of our topper. His name is right there at the near the office, right? So Chinmay graduated with me. Right now, he's working in field, and he's going to publish his paper for MEMS in aerospace, something of that. He's done some vibration testing on that. So there are a lot of opportunities there. You don't have to give any GRE type exam to go to Germany, but then you do have to give GRE A1 or A2. At least you have to do A1, A2 level. So that you can do from Max Muller or Goethe Institute in Pune. You can appear for those exams. So at least you need to have 2 level or 1 level before you apply for your visa. And after that, once you go there, along with your regular studies, you have to also pursue German studies, because that will help you to find a good job. And once you're in the workforce, it makes you easy to interact with your colleagues and write some business formal uh, essay or writing or speaking with your fellows. So yes, no need of exam, but then yes, you do have to do A1 German, so that will get you a visa. And then there are the same thing that I've discussed with US, the technical fields up here, the technical opportunities, those are the same ones that you will find in Germany and close surrounding, which is Brussels, Belgium, and Netherlands.
So there is again one question.
Mhm.
How did you prepare for the exam? And is backlog matters?
And what matters?
Backlogs.
Oh, backlog. How did I prepare? You don't want to know how I prepared. I was working back then in Emerson. So in the morning I used to do maths, and in the evening I used to do English. And then that's how I did that. I didn't score that well as I was supposed to. But then you can study. There are multiple mediums for your help. One is you can of course join a class, which I might not recommend because I personally have done it myself. You just have to get those course material from somewhere. Secondly, there are a lot of apps nowadays that will help you to do English, that will help you to do maths. Those are the prompt questions or something. So you have those flashcards, right? So they will shoot out some questions and you can answer those. Maths is pretty easy comparatively. The only thing that is a hurdle or that could be challenging is the statistics part. which is basically probability and permutation and combination. If you do that, trust me, you should be able to get more than 160 out of 170 in those exams. And with English, it again is very subjective. You might have to read something, might have to do an essay practice, you might have to do some GRE words. But there are some tricks and around that, tips and suggestions. One could be, there is Kaplan 333 high frequency words. Those were the only ones that I've done. It's not a good thing. Again, like I say, don't follow me. I've done the most rudimentary thing to get through. But then you have time, so spend some time, work on some essays, work on some high frequency words, learn them, do a practice test. There is a 5 LB Manhattan series, right? Those exams, whatever you score on those exams is basically plus minus 10, the one that you will get in an actual exam. So try to undergo those, try to do some more practicing. Number two is, what I personally have found very useful is having a good surround, like friends who were pursuing the same goal. So I had a set of 3 to 4 friends who we know for a fact, and those helped me over the time, because it was mostly of a knowledge sharing, right? We were sharing like words like, hey, do you know this? Do you know that? Have you practiced permutation combination? How do you do this? What are the tips that you can suggest here? Those set. So first, find some good resources. Secondly, if not possible, find a good class. It could be Dilipo, maybe example. And third is find the same friend circle, so that everyone is together aiming for the same goal, and that will help you push and you will be motivated.
Okay, that's it with question and answer. So I shift towards Kai ma'am.
You shift towards? Ma'am. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Rohit,
Yes, ma'am.
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here, I want to ask you one question.
Sure, ma'am.
Most of the time, what happens? Students think that software company means the profile is just of coding. Okay. You have explained in a very good manner related with Amazon, but can you put some light on other software companies where students have different coding? Because most of the time students don't appear for the software companies in our campus also. So can you put some light on it?
Sure. So software engineering is a pretty, even within software engineering, like I said, right, there is testing, there's validation, like testing development. One new field which people are working on, and which I have found control system engineer work, is called, the title is software engineer, right, at the surface level, but they are nothing but algorithm developers. So a friend of mine works at a startup company. She's software engineer, but what she does is basically she gets all the sensor data from the cars, and her work is to do algorithm. Like what sensor value should we take first, right? Let's say, to give an example, if you have a lathe machine and that lathe machine has 8 temperature sensors all over, one could be at its leg, one could be right at the tip of extruder, one could be at the handle. So if everyone is giving different values, of course, because it's a different value, so which one should you weigh more, which one you should do secondary and tertiary, and which is more critical, right? If your node one temperature sensor goes above a certain limit, then you want the alarm to trigger, right? Those are the things. So algorithm engineer does that kind of work. We have few opportunities in India which software engineers are working in, and that is when you can actually take your domain control system knowledge up there. So that's one. And the last is, I don't know TCS and this thing, but then I know for a fact that there are certain companies like Harbinger, and then second is NTT Data or Teradata. So those are also working in web development testing, right? So the platform is Selenium, and then they work to test out different software packages for user testing. So it could be basically autonomous testing. I should put it that way. It's autonomous testing. So if someone has developed something, then you can basically test it out on a Selenium platform, and it could be automated completely. So it falls under UAE, Quality Assurance Engineering, but then it's part of the software engineering. So and then, ma'am, right now I don't. This is all top of my mind, but I know for a fact that there are multiple domains to it. One is software development engineer testing. One is QAE, Quality Assurance Engineering, and the third is SDE. But then I can get back to you on that. But I know for a fact that we have control system engineering working across all those domains right now.
Okay, Rohit. Thank you. Actually, I have one more question.
Sure.
Students, when they are passing out,
Mm-hmm.
so along with this degree, Can you tell what or the areas?
Sorry, ma'am, I could not hear. Apart from degree, what all?
Along with the degree, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear.
Along with the degree, can you just focus some areas? Those areas can be technical or non-technical, where students should upgrade their self. Uh,
Okay. Ma'am, number one, that I personally, from my experience, I'm telling you, is speaking. We lack a lot. It's not that we can't speak in front of crowd. It's just that when it's technical, when it's your own domain, when it's the same project that you have worked on for 3 months, you know for a fact it in and out. So you can basically talk in front of 200 or 2000 people, right? You can explain it. But if I give you a off topic something like let's say if I ask you to talk about yourself for 30 minutes, and I know for a fact that people kind of shy away and they don't know what to speak now and how to articulate those thoughts. So number one is public speaking. Work on that. It's very important because getting into workforce is one, but getting promoted and quickly thriving in that environment is number two. So you should definitely work on public speaking skill, and that is the reason I have personally joined Amazon Toastmasters here, because my manager or my mentor here, who also said the same, that hey, technically you're good, but you have to develop. If you want to take charge of a product and if you want to stand up there in front of 200 people, you better take public speaking classes, and that is when Toastmasters helped me. So, and like I said, it can help you in different ways, right? I personally have suffered from voice modulation because I used to speak in one same tone throughout. I could not gather people's attention. My eye contact was pretty poor, but then that helped me to gain confidence. I can now walk in a crowd of 200 people, look into their eyes and talk. So that's number one. I personally felt that a lot of people who are technically good could not rise up in the organization because of its public speaking. Number two is technical skills, right? What happens is, apart from the projects that we have done, we really don't do any DIY projects to stay in touch with those projects, right? So what you can do is you can do some good pet projects. You can show them on your resume. You can put it on LinkedIn. You can today there are so many good mediums, right? You can put it on YouTube. It's working on a YouTube. I know we had one of our robotic projects. A friend of mine had pushed it onto YouTube where people were seeing it. You can put it to a recruiter, right? So these are the skill sets that you can work on. So one is public speaking. Number two is technical. Number three is Python is the next thing, ma'am. Python is really into everything right now. It's gaining momentum. Though you be a mechanical engineer, though you be a control system engineer, though you be a software development engineer, everyone likes to learn Python. And because Python has different flavors to it, right? It's not just scripting or web development, but I can make my sensors talk to, let's say on Raspberry Pi, I can make my sensors talk to my home automation devices. I can create an entire home automation just on Python where I have a standard script of packages available online that I can use. So Python is very powerful in that sense. So if possible, try to learn Python. It's really powerful. And that is the knowledge that won't go waste for sure. That's number three. I think those are the three things, ma'am. Now that I look back myself, if and this is the same thing that I have let my sister know. My sister is in fourth year in IOIT itself. So I say her the same. So whatever I'm telling you guys, trust me, it's the same thing that I'm telling my sister right now.
Okay. Thank you, Rohit. Simply, I think your guidelines.
Ma'am, actually, you're breaking. I'm not able to hear.
Hello.
Yeah, now I'm able to hear.
Okay. Thank you, Rohit, for your answer.
Sure. No, ma'am. Thank you.
Aditya, is there any another question?
Yes, ma'am. There is one.
Sure. Shoot.
So, what is the total costing of doing MSc in the US for any other abroad nation?
I was actually wondering why did this question not come up. The answer is variable. It's subjective. If you get a graduate research assistantship before applying, it reduces the cost well a lot. Secondly, the cost of living, like I mentioned, right? The fourth point is the location. So let's say if you're going to stay in New York or Seattle or Atlanta for that matter, your cost of living is going to go high, and that is going to add up for your sum. So there are two aspects when you study, right? One is the tuition, which is not going to change, right? Which is going to be the same that you pay to your college. And the second thing is the standard of living, which is basically your rent, your grocery, your miscellaneous expenses, traveling, something of that sort. So within these two, the second one is something that student can still work on, but it's you can just here and there you can work 10 to 20% off, but it's going to be the same. So you can look up with your seniors, you can ask them. So personally, if I do an average, I think your education should come for 2 years. It should come somewhere around 30 lakhs. But then if you get internship, it reduces because you can pay for your this thing. If you work on campus, the price reduces. You can pay for your rent from that or groceries from that rent. If you get research assistantship or teaching assistantship, that reduces drastically. In my example, for the semester 1 and semester 2, I paid it from my pocket, but then I got a graduate research assistantship. Like I said, right, I moved to thesis, and then university took care of the rest. So after that, I did not pay anything. And also, yeah, the last thing is insurance and all. So if you get research assistantship or teaching assistantship, the insurance is paid by university itself, but else you will have to purchase yourself. So that adds up to the cost of your living. So it's variable. Like I said, there's no correct answer. It's variable. It varies across universities. It varies across locations. It varies across your degree.
Hi, ma'am. Can we go for a conclusion now?
Okay, all the questions are over, Aditya?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So perfect. So before we wrap up, again, guys, sorry, Kaya ma'am, I'll just take a minute to walk them through. So as you
Yes.
slides, right? I've not written anything that is super rigid and super robust. That instrumentation guys should do this or this or this or this. Nothing of that sort. Like I mentioned, it is very subjective. It's based on your liking. It's based on your preferences. It's based on your work ex that you are acquiring, right? So feel free to. So don't restrict yourself to a certain thing. Oh, after this, we should be doing this on. It's like I said, it's upon you. Take some time, decide on it. But there should be certain deal breakers for you, certain add-ons, right? Like, hey, I just want to do robotics, but then I'm happy to do, let's say, IoT with it. I'm happy to do mechatronics with it. List those things out, see which university offers it to you, see what job field opportunities are later available for you. Let's say if you're targeting something like if you're interested in automobile, if you're crazy about it, then try to see what type of engineers are hired in Tesla, what type of engineers are hired in Zoox or GM or Ford automobile for that matter. Try to work backwards and see that, hey, if I do certain set or if I do control system engineering with this focus, it's going to help me. Or if I do control system engineering with automobile designing, is going to help me find a job. So don't restrict yourself. If someone is telling you this is how the path should be or this is how it should be, think twice, because like I said, it's all up to you. Take my example. I worked in oil and gas, but now I'm in e-commerce. It's totally okay to switch. No worries. Second thing is I want you to make it more interactive. So if you have any questions, I'm still happy to answer them. You have my email ID. If not, again, you can note it down. It's rohitghole@gmail.com. Feel free to shoot an email. I may or may not be able to answer quickly, but then I'll make a point to answer all the questions that you have. Apart from that, feel free to connect me on LinkedIn and ping me there as well. I will be happy. Apart from that, the things that I've discussed, like technical opportunities and the industries, again, I've put etc. because it's a wide field. There are upcoming fields that are coming. So don't restrict yourself to the traditional industries. Feel free to experiment around. If you think that maybe it's the oil and gas only that interests you, or you can work on it, do that. If you think that e-commerce is something that you really want to target, because if you can connect machine learning with e-commerce, Amazon is the job that you want, or it's Flipkart, or if it's Walmart, feel free to do that. Don't restrict yourself. And that is one thing I really want to tell everyone out there, because we have been thinking in a particular patterns, right? Don't do that. Just experiment around. Whatever likes you, follow that. And again, I know it's very Monday morning for you, it's very early. I would like to take this time to thank you for taking this time out and then joining me for today for this webinar. I hope I have answered all your questions. If not, I'm sorry. I'll try to connect back again and help you. And then, Kai ma'am, I'm really happy that you have given this me opportunity to connect with my alumni and to help them out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rohit. The takeaway from this, all our students and our students studies or
Ma'am, I'm again sorry you're breaking up for me. I don't know if other guys are able to hear you.
Okay, am I audible?
Yeah, now I'm. Yeah, now yeah.
Okay, fine. No, actually, just I want to thank you, and the takeaways from this webinar will definitely help to all our students, and definitely they will come back to you if they are having any difficulties regarding the job opportunities or higher studies. Okay.
Sure, man.
Now I request Aditya. Aditya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
On the behalf of AISSMS IOIT,